To this point, we've looked at how we can select different nodes out of the DOM by tag name, by ID, or even by style, class name. But there may be times when you don't want to, it's not enough just to find it by class name or by tag name or even by ID. You actually want to go in, check a specific attribute for a value, and then find that based upon the value. So that's what we're going to learn about here, is how we can start to combine a little more sophisticated syntax in our jQuery selectors. So it's very easy to work with. In fact, if you've ever worked with something called XPath, which has been around for a long time with XSLT and some XML technologies, it uses a very similar syntax in its language. So what we're going to learn here is, instead of just saying, hey, let's go find all the anchor tags, what if we want to go say, go find me an anchor tag that has a title attribute on that anchor tag? Well, we can do that with the following syntax. So again, jQuery object, call into the selector function. We're going to pass in the tag that we want, but we're going to say where the anchor tag has a title attribute. Now notice it doesn't say where title is equal to something, or has a starts with or ends with value. It just says has a title. Now you can also go in, though, if you wanted to search for a very specific title, you could come in and say, yeah, go find the anchor tag where, and every time I see these brackets here, I think in my mind where the title attribute equals programming info. Now, yes, this is JavaScript, and normally you can do the double equals for comparison, but in this case we don't. It's a very specific syntax that you have to use with jQuery, so we just use a single equals here. So this is actually a really, really useful selector, because there's often times where, for instance, you might have a lot of different divs that have specific text that you know to look for. So you might have states as an example, and you want to find all the divs that start or have the value AZ as the value of the text as an example. Well, you could do that very easily using this syntax. So again, before we run into the demo, think anytime you see the anchor or the div or whatever the tag is, if you see square brackets next to it, think where whatever it is. Now this one only shows title, but if, for instance, we had input type equals text for a text box, then you could go highlight all text boxes. Now there's other ways you can do that as well, but that would be an example of what you can do out of the box with this particular functionality.